Hello and welcome. I'm gonna be honest with you, I just wanted to share my experience with my first time actually diving into the boss fight for Drizzle, and I'm kind of astonished that it actually worked. If the title and the thumbnail didn't make it obvious, this is probably not how you're supposed to play this. But at the same time, I'm actually kind of excited that it worked. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no idea what to expect out of this fight. And for that good reason, we lost. And then immediately went right into it again, completely blind still. If you know me, then you know that I like going into games completely blind, without spoilers and without too much of a carry. And so when getting into this fight, I did exactly that. I did not look at any guides, I didn't look at any information, and I dove right into it with my best bud. Up on screen are both of our loadouts. Although the levels displayed currently over on the right hand side are most likely going to be different than the ones that are shown to you in this video, it's my friend's loadout, and I have no idea what mastery he has them at. And if you can tell, our loadout is missing a good amount of things that you would probably actually want inside of this fight. For starters, one more healer, something like slime to help out with a bunch of the enemies early on, and potentially better crowd control, something like mortar. Shark wasn't the worst, but I don't think it was the best option for this. My friend also mentioned during this that Druid might be really good. For the most part, we had single target DPS for both of our loadouts. So it's genuinely surprising that we actually managed to win, especially when our health got extremely low. During our first attempt here, we got screwed over immediately by the enemy's health bar and how beefy they were. So we pivoted and decided to use back support through the means of summons. Hunter is going to be the unit that we primarily looked at and used, and it worked out really well. After the first boss, which is actually a pretty cool looking boss, we kind of figured that we were totally fine on our side of the map, but we were completely wrong. The other side of the map finally opens up, and the enemies are completely different. The snakes are going to be a challenge, and they were for us, because a lot of them have little gimmicks. Some of them revive, some of them have attacks, and others will be flying. At the beginning, the flying ones were going to be the greatest of challenges for us because we had a bunch of hunters, but they weren't really leveled up all the way. Archer and Mage are going to be really helpful here for this reason, and this is where I kind of wish I swapped out Shark. Shark was alright, but the range, performance, and my placement of Washer wasn't really doing that great. So honestly, I want to say Shark wasn't doing much at all during this entire run. The Medusa fight, which is the next boss, is really cool. The gimmick of freezing towers and freezing players is really unique. Despite it being the second boss, it was actually kind of easier. A little annoying, but most definitely easier. After Medusa was defeated, both of the sides open up completely, and we had to figure out how we were going to balance and defend both sides. Over on the right hand side, a lot of the units are going to be on the ground. There's one unit in particular that is really gimmicky. He's a stone statue and he'll only move if you're not looking at him, which is honestly really cool. But man, he has a lot of health. So hunters went over on the right hand side. Our archers went everywheres. Rainer and Shark were over on the tops of the hills. And for the most part, all of the mages were over on the left-hand side, mainly due to the flying enemies as mentioned. Despite having a ton of single target DPS, the gimmick of the final boss moving around from place to place does make it a challenge with the continuous horde of enemies. So this fight is a little bit more of a slow burn type of scenario where you just have to survive and endure for as long as possible while your economy gets higher and higher. At least it was a way like that for us. We had no economy for this run, and so we had to make do with what we could get. On that note about single target DPS, this took a very long while. Once we actually did get into the second phase, it goes by way faster, and I'm so happy that the final boss doesn't move around anymore. A lot of our DPS could actually finally hurt the boss, and it was smooth sailing from there other than trying to evade a bunch of the attacks that were happening all around the map. Me and my buddy were pretty determined to win because we for sure did not want to run it back given the situation of how slow our DPS was. We definitely knew some of the faults that we had given our loadouts and the scenarios we were presented, but given how much we had already put into this run, it would have sucked to have lose here. We eventually did win, and it was really awesome to finally see the materials from that difficulty inside of the shop. If you plan on doing what we did, I would recommend taking some of our advice and swapping out a few things here and there, because if not, you're going to have a really lengthy and terrible time during the final fight. I am genuinely surprised we survived, given how much health we had remaining, and overall it was a pretty cool experience. However, as a boss fight, I probably wouldn't want to replay it, given the time spent, and between you and me, I'd rather just farm materials elsewhere and then sell them to get tickets. Anyways, that's how it went for me. I hope you guys had a way smoother experience with this difficulty. If you're looking to clear this difficulty, I would definitely recommend getting into a voice chat with a buddy and going through the different waves together. It is 100% a better experience when you're able to communicate with someone about the current situations that you've got going on, because oh boy, this difficulty does have a bunch of different gimmicks that you have to get used to, learn about, and adapt to rather quickly. But anyways, that's going to be all for this video. If you have any tips or any advice for this difficulty, leave a comment down below. I'd be glad to know what you guys did instead of what I did. Because most definitely there's going to be a way better and smoother way to do this boss fight. If you guys want to check out this game, the link is going to be in the description as always. And if you got a game that I should check out, leave a comment down below and feel free to suggest. But anyways, that's going to be all from me, and I will see ya.